All right, guys, in this video, we're going to be wrapping up the engine with installing a Holley 302-3 oil pan. Now, I've had my eye on this oil pan for years now, and it started with the 302-1, then the -2 and -3, and each dash number or each revision or new part number that they release, they keep adding new cool features to the oil pan. Now, take the -3, for example. The fitment in the Chevelle is awesome. The sump isn't too low, so it doesn't hang below the cross member. It positions the motor. You can do a fore or aft position with their motor mounts, and also it has excellent tie rod clearance. Now this -3 pan, you can do a bigger stroke, which I'm not going to do, but it also has drains for turbos, so that's awesome. I don't have to mess around with tapping and welding the timing cover or doing or modifying an oil pan. This one's ready to go. It's got a 1/2-inch NPT bung or threaded hole. Just drain the turbo right back into the oil pan. Now in a future video, you're going to see me use the Holley mounts as well, the motor mounts. And with the pan, I mean, the fitment looks awesome to me. I've seen pictures on LS1 Tech, and they just did a really nice job of fitting it in the Chevelle platform. And also they have other products that complement everything else. So, I mean, they got this swapped down, and it's pretty cool to see that. Okay, so here's the oil pan I'm going to use. This is a brand new Holley 302-3. Okay, on the left here is the truck pan. As you can see, it has a very tall sump. So my cross member is going to be like here, and you definitely don't want this hanging below. My car is very low, about 3 inches. It wouldn't crack that right off, and then that would be a problem, right? Also, Holley makes this oil pan as well as motor mounts to fit right in the Chevelle, okay? They've done an excellent job. I've seen pictures of the fitment, and it is freaking awesome, and I will go over that later once we put the motor in. But one thing to note on the Chevelles is this here has to be very short, and then these areas here are for tie rod clearance. So when we swing the tie rods all the way, the tie rod comes within like 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch of this area here. So it would definitely hit with the truck pan. You would have to raise the motor, and raising the motor isn't a good thing. You want it as low as possible. Also, this pan comes with 2 bungs for oil drains. So you can do a twin turbo, or in my case a single turbo. I'm going to be using this one here. The oil drain is going to go right into here. That way I don't have to weld and tap and do all this fancy stuff to the timing cover or a different oil pan. So that is just a very convenient place for it, to be honest. They also make a nice drop-in baffle kit for like road racing and stuff. So I'm not going to go that route. I'm just going to, use what they supplied in this kit. Comes with a new pickup. Comes with a pan that you bolt in here, and then all the stuff for the oil filter, new O-ring tube, block off plate, which I'll put on, but I need an oil feed for the turbo later on. So anyway, comes with everything you need. This is a really nice pan. It's about $370, but it does everything I need. Perfect fitment in the Chevelle, oil drain, and I have the option of doing a baffle kit, which I'm not going to do right now. But anyway, I'm going to go try to give that thing away. Okay, this is the stock full-length windage tray off a truck motor, and I have to modify it per the instructions, and basically I have to cut along the silver line, and we have to discard this part. So it's all outlined right here in the instructions, and so let's go chop that up. Okay, so here's the windage tray modified per the instructions. And what I did is I gave it a quick vapor blast, just real quick to get all the junk off. It's completely clean. I rinsed it in soapy water. It's nice and clean, right? So anyway, it goes on like that, right? And obviously this had to get all modified so the pan can sit, you know, it's really short in that area. Okay, so let's go ahead and put our nuts on. Okay, found a little bit of oil here. Just wipe it on my O-ring here. Slide your O-ring on the tube here. Flip it around. All right, your last nut's gonna go on here like that. Okay, and this is just a mock-up at this point, okay? I'm gonna put the pan on. Okay, this one I'm just gonna snug up. Okay, plenty of clearance around the windage tray right here. Before we set the pan down, let's install this baffle. Goes in like that. 1/4 ton hardware. It says apply blue Loctite. There we go. Torque to 8 to 10 foot-pounds. Okay, so at first it wasn't fitting entirely perfect up here, and I read the instructions. This flange has to be mated coincident to the oil pump, okay? And you're not supposed to draw it in with the screws. So I had to wiggle it back and forth so it's all the way down. Again, I don't have the nut on here. This is just a mock-up. Let's slide the pan on. Okay, so the baffle's installed, no gasket. I'm just setting it down to see how it fits. Okay. All the bolt holes line up real nice. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, so I'm gonna remove the pickup and we are gonna torque these to 18 foot-pounds and then we'll drop this back in, all right? All right, 18 foot-pounds. Okay, we'll snug these up and then we'll torque them. Okay, these go to 106 inch-pounds. Which isn't a lot. And we got our last nut here. 18 foot-pounds. Okay, at this point, let's roll the motor over and make sure we have zero clearance issues. And do one final check with the oil pan, no gasket. That looks good, everything lines up. Okay, one thing about the oil pans on LS engines is they are structural. So these two bolts, I believe, or two of these three bolts here actually attach to the bell housing. Okay, so you can see here, this guy can walk back and forth, and what locates it is the bell housing, or this surface here has to be planar, coplanar with the back flange of the engine block. So I guess you can put a flat piece up against here and get it close and here, but the engine stand is in the way. So I think the best thing to do is actually take it off the engine stand, have it hanging from the engine hoist, and I will attach the bell housing, get these bolts tight. It will locate this pan perfectly, and then we have to run all the bolts in. So that's a lot of extra work, but I think that's what needs to be done. Okay. One more thing I want to talk about, where we are going to put our TV. Okay, something I may not be able to show in the video because this is going to be upside down is I am going to put a bead of RTV right here at the four corners where the rear cover and the front cover meet the oil pan rails. Okay, this is the only place we have to seal our TV. Okay, so I'll probably do that when it's upside down, but everything looks good here, and we can I can put it on the engine hoist, sorry. Okay, so here's what I got going on. This thing is just hanging from the hoist. You can see I have a bell housing attached to the block just with 2 bolts, hand tight, and that gives us a plane for the oil pan, and we can run these 2 bolts in so we can square everything up and locate it properly. Okay, so this is how I'm going to attach the pan. A little bit of pain doing all this, but you know, it's the right way to do it, right? Okay, so what I'm going to do is put my RTV under here, and I have a tube of Permatex Ultra Black that is kind of dried up, so I'm going to have to work really hard to get the last of this out. Okay, squeeze like crazy, and I just got a little bit that came out here. Alright, so we got RTV on all 4 corners. Okay, so I have the oil pan, the gasket, and you shove a couple bolts through and it holds the bolts in place. So it's just a matter of getting a few of them started. This side's in. All right. Okay, let's run some of these up. Okay, 2 bolts for the bell housing. I can see a gap here, so this will be good just to get them lined up. The oil pan needs to go up a little bit. So those I will just get hand tight. I can see how the pan gets sucked back to the bell housing. Okay, so we locate the pan that way. Now let's just wrap these in. I'm going to loosen and tighten the bell housing bolts just to kind of reset things. Okay. Those are still good. Go a little tighter with these guys. Okay, pan bolts are 18 foot-pounds. Okay, these bolts back here are last and 106 inch-pounds, okay? Okay, we got this oil filter adapter, sorry. Okay, 40 foot-pounds. Okay, we're gonna put an oil filter on. I'm using a Wix 57060. Put a little oil on the gasket there. Just go ahead and spin it on. Hand tight's good for me. Okay, it came with this oil block off plate. I will need to buy an oil feed for the turbo, but I want to prime the motor, so I will swap this out later. But anyway, go ahead and install this and torque it to 106 inch-pounds. Okay, this is the driver's side oil return. I'm not going to be using this one here, so I got a little Teflon paste, and I'll just run this guy snug. On the other side, I'm just going to install it snug, no Teflon paste, because obviously I will put in our fitting there for the oil drain. Don't know what that's going to be yet, but I just want to cover up the hole. So wipe off all your paste here. So passenger side, I will just snug this guy in until I decide what I'm going to do there. And then last but not least is install your drain plug. Just snug. All right, so the pan's on. This job is done.